Welcome to the new IT. Welcome everyone. Here we are at the new IT. We're talking about, what are we talking about today, Brad? What is the magical thing that we're talking about today?
Today's magical thing is friend or foe. So we wanted to kind of do a little bit of a deep dive into why you should use a recruiter.
Ooh, I like this. Is going to be really, really good. So today we're specifically talking about if you are looking for a job, not if you're a company looking to hire someone, but this is the side of as a person looking for. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where we're going to go here.
The term I would use is more of a look as a candidate looking for a job. So
that's candidate. That's what you call them. Is they're candidates. Well, I like that. That
right.
Sounds kind of like a cadet or a
exactly.
person.
Well, I mean, you're a candidate.
School.
I mean, you're being considered for something. So yeah.
I see. Okay, so that's the correct term. I'm gonna. Why a headhunter? I'm going to go kind of from that angle because
absolutely.
I think listeners are going to want to know, well, why should I use a recruiter?
Absolutely.
I know how to send out my resume. I'm slick. I'm a smart person. And we're going to kind of dive into that today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you say that because, I mean, I get people all the time saying, well, why should I use a recruiter? So, well, you know, we're here today to kind of answer some of those questions.
I'm excited for this because I think just talking to you a little bit about what we were going to talk about and stuff, I realize you're kind of dumb if you're not using a recruiter. After talking to you about it and understanding kind of the whole spiel about it. And this, this is just a podcast. We do what we do, and we're doing this podcast because of what we do. This isn't a hard sell or a come call Brad and make him get you a job or whatever. This is information, real powerful information, right?
Absolutely. I mean, more than anything else, we just want to impart, knowledge on people, and we want to be able to help them, even if they don't use us or they decide to go with somebody else. That's totally fine. We just want to be able to make sure that you understand what your recruiter should be doing.
Yeah. And so with that said, I would like to ask my first question is, okay, how are you as a recruiter going to help me from being in that pile of resumes? Why don't I just use Monster or Indeed or all of those other places that, they said they're going to get me a job? Why not just use them?
The biggest thing that I will say with that is if you're doing it, how many other people are using that service? I mean, on average,
thousands.
On average, for a software engineer job, each company gets about 500 resumes. How are you going to compete with 500 other people if all they're doing is submitting their resume? As a recruiter, it's our job because we like to connect with people and we like to connect with hiring managers. It's our job to know who's looking in the market and what companies are looking for what type of developer or engineer. So we have that insider knowledge.
Yeah, it just seems like when you say 500, it's true. I mean, how do they even pick from those? Or is that kind of a formality? I mean, we used to talk about, they already have somebody already in mind, and they just need to follow these steps to I don't know, follow some kind of a, not law, but do you know what I'm talking about? We have to release this job, even though we have Jim here that we're probably going to give the job to.
Yeah. Technically, yes, they do have to, but at the same point, like out of those 500, what most big companies are doing is they're taking like software and they're saying, okay, let's see who meets this criteria based off of keyword search. So if you're just sending out a blind resume, then you're never going to get selected for those jobs because you're not matching it to that job description.
I know when I'm hiring and I get that resume that obviously has been sent out to 500 other, I mean, it goes the other way around. If you're just spitting out resumes and not even, they don't even say, you know what, I looked at your job, it sounds really interesting, doing this, blah, blah, blah. It's this really panned stuff. And I'm like, dude, I throw those, I don't even,
yeah, exactly.
I'm so pissed at those. I'm like, dude, if my job was interesting enough for you to put in for it, then effing take 2 seconds to write a damn paragraph that says I'm excited to hear about your company, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
So I think it goes both ways. And I guess...
And it does.
as a recruiter, you hold their hands that whole time
Absolutely.
through all of that.
Yeah, and we help not necessarily with that, but we have the relationships where you don't necessarily have to do that.
You
We're
don't
already
have
doing
to
the hard
spit
work
them out
for
to
you.
all that crap. You wait for your recruiter to say, "Hey, dude, I just found you a killer gig."
Exactly.
Wow, that sounds
Yeah.
that right there. It's a no-brainer. If now, okay, here's the thing. This is a side question to me then. So, how desirable do I have to be as a employee for you to want to help me? Because that sounds like, why wouldn't everybody on the planet use a recruiter?
Well, exactly.
Well, if I'm going to get a McDonald's job, maybe that's not.
Yeah.
So what's the criteria? I'm curious.
Well, I mean, it really depends. I mean, so really, it depends on what you're trying to do. But like, we specialize in technology and software engineering, web development. So those are the types of positions that we look for. Typically, clients that we work with, they are looking for more seasoned people. However, we do get those companies who do want junior level people as well. So it really just depends on your...
you have some like help desk people, or
Absolutely.
is that even you do really?
Mm-hmm. So we've
Interesting.
gotten requests for that. So yeah, we try to fill that as well.
Really? So back in the day when I was a greenie, I'm like, well, a headhunter, that's only for people that are like really, really
No.
knowledgeable and have been doing this industry for 20 years. So that is not the case.
No, I mean, a good recruiter understands and knows that they want to see you through your process. And in my opinion, people switch jobs nowadays every 3 to 5 years. So a smart recruiter will understand that and know that, and he will want to build long-term relationships with you.
Wow.
He's not looking for just that 1 or 2 person placements. He's looking for the trajectory of your career.
It's like the really good realtor that you keep as a realtor for 30 years and you've bought 4
Absolutely.
houses from them.
100% agree.
Yeah,
That's exactly how it is.
You want that relationship,
Yes.
or a car. I've heard of car dealers who were so good. They were no pressure. They were the coolest dude on the planet. They would send birthday cards and they would sell hundreds of cars
Exactly.
to this guy and his family
Yep.
because they cared so, or they
Exactly.
they had that kind of relationship. It's just kind of the same thing.
It is.
So I want to ask then, how does
Before you
go ahead.
go ahead and ask that one,
I'm on
I want to
fire.
spit one stat out to you, and here's this one stat. It says 94% of people that are prospective candidates, they will usually accept a job offer from a recruiter because they know and they understand that that's the person that they're presenting is valuable.
95%,
94%.
94% will accept a job from a recruiter.
And they'll make it, yeah. So the stat is 94%. Here's the stat. I'll just read it to you. It says 94% say that being contacted by their prospective manager can make them accept the job faster through a recruiter.
Interesting. Well, there you go. So that was going to be my kind of question. So you kind of jumped the gun and answered it a little bit. How if I'm in a pile of resumes, are you saying you take them out of that pile of resumes?
No, I mean, not at all. I mean, so we
Or you get them in a smaller pile?
Exactly. We understand and we know. So again, it's relationship building. So we understand and we know how to build those relationships. So we build those relationships with people to say, okay, if you're happen to be looking, here's this position. But we also have clients who are in need right now to where we're saying we need to fill this position now. So again,
you're kind of an advocate for that person.
Absolutely, we are.
And when I'm looking through a giant pile, well, would you even be in the pile, or you're in a, because I'm not sure how it works. Maybe you can explain it to me. If I've got this, I'm the HR person and I'm looking through all this stuff. Now, is somebody else dealing with a recruiter? And that pile is not, they're not even in that pile because you're sending them specific people?
They could be, but at the same point, that's something that we vet out when we make sure. So a company will generally know if that person has already applied, but a good recruiter is not only worried about that pile, they're trying to create their own pile to say, okay, here's the best candidate in your area, in your market, that's within your price range, that fits exactly what you need.
So, and I think you told me about this before. Not all of those great jobs are even on those
Absolutely.
job board deals.
100%.
The Monster and all that. They don't waste their time with that. They go straight to a recruiter. Is that true?
Exactly. As a recruiter, it's my job to go and find the clients for my candidates. So I am constantly networking with companies to say
That way they don't
who's
waste
hiring.
their time with 500 resumes.
Exactly. That's the whole point. And we're supposed to speed up the job process, and that's how we do it.
And that's why they pay you.
Exactly.
Because it saves them a lot of time.
And here's the best part. From a candidate standpoint, all we offer you is nothing but free career advice. We're there to help you. We get paid by the clients. We don't get it doesn't cost you anything. We're there for you.
Doesn't cost me a dime as a
dime.
potential client.
Nope. So I actually am going to retract something, though. I actually read the wrong stat. So the stat that I was referring to, it's 89% of talent say that being contacted by a recruiter will make them accept the job faster.
89%.
89%. 8 out of 9. Well, if you want to round up, 9 out of 10.
That's pretty good. So getting a job is stressful.
It's
stressful. And, you know, if you've ever been out there looking through the job boards and all that and sending your resume out, it does suck. Now, using a recruiter, does it make it easier?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we're your
Why?
advocate. We're there for you. We want to help you succeed. Since we get paid by the client, it is in our best interest to make sure that we present you, the candidate, in the best possible light as possible. So we're making sure that we're doing things for you. We're doing a prep interview with you. We're trying to give you all the ammunition to be able to be successful in your interviews. Now, we can't help with the technical side because every client is different, but that's on the candidate to be able to say, hey, I can back up what I say I can do.
But you can help them with the resume that looks better.
Yep, your resumes. Like I said, doing prep interviews, making sure that we help them understand more about the client, making sure that they do their research on the client.
I mean,
all of it.
there's product out there to pay money for all that.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're saying you're giving that to potential clients,
Candidates.
for candidates for free.
Absolutely.
So
100%.
why wouldn't everybody on the planet do that? Why aren't they all doing? Why aren't they all using you? I don't understand.
I'm baffled.
You're baffled too.
I'm baffled.
Is it because we're suspect or not suspect? We're maybe it is suspect.
I just think
we're leery of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, I think a lot of people are, but not only that, I just don't think that they realize what a recruiter does for you.
Yeah, I can send out resumes.
Exactly.
But man, behind the scenes, you do so much more.
Absolutely. There's so much more that goes on. I mean, not only that, but from that standpoint, we're constantly following up with you because, again, for us and a good recruiter, it's about the relationship. We want long-term relationships. We don't want to just find one position for you. We want to be there for you for your entire career.
Wow.
Whether you take a position with us or not, it doesn't matter. We know eventually that you will, and you're going to switch jobs because statistics are in our favor. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of when. So as a recruiter, it is our job to be able to make sure that we always provide you that value.
So as a potential person to get a job, how am I losing out? There's got to be a way where, the client has to pay money to you for me to get hired. So did I just lose out on some money there somehow?
No, absolutely not. See, that's the best part is we understand and we know the market and we know what certain positions are tailored to be and where their salary ranges should be. So again,
so you can make me more money.
Absolutely, 100%.
So how does that work? So you just understand the industry so well that you know that in this part of the country, salaries are around this, and you know that this. So you probably talk to the potential client too about what their prices are. So you realize that because if they're super lowballing it, you probably don't want to waste your time, or do
exactly.
You?
Well, that's just it. Is we understand and we know the market. We know, for example, I'm going to throw out like Sitecore developers. We know what the average market should be for people in that industry, so we know what to expect. Now, when a client comes to us and says, "Hey, we need help with a Sitecore developer," we can then come back and say, "Okay, what's your budget? What are you looking for?" So we can then advise the client to say, okay, you're too low. If you're looking for this, I can probably find you somebody, but it's probably not going to work out for you, or you're going to have to understand his skill set.
And then you can find a little bit lower level client, or what do you call them? Candidate.
Exactly.
That will fit, but probably isn't the best fit for
It'll
either.
fit, but it's not. They're not going to have generally the technical expertise that you're going to need.
That's again a lot of work that I never really realized about what you guys do.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I just thought you headhunters. You go out and hunt heads.
I wish it was that easy, but there's a lot to it. But I love it, and I love the fact that we get to play both sides of the field, so to speak. We have to make sure that we're catering to our clients, but we also have to make sure that we're taking care of our candidates. So we have the best of both worlds, in my opinion.
Wow, that's very, very cool. So I'm a candidate or whatever, and I just don't know what I'm doing. Are you really gonna hold my hand through the whole process? I'm a go-getter. I've had this same gig for 15 years, and I've just realized, you know what, I've been with this company so long, I've never looked for a job. I started as an intern, and I grew, and I became this bad A whatever, and I've never really, went looking for a job. But can you help that person?
Absolutely. And here's the best thing is, you may not be ready to take the position right away, but as a recruiter, that's my job to help you look and search passively. So nobody's saying that you need to take the first offer that we present to you, but we want to match you with something where you can see yourself long term. So we're looking for you to be able to fill that role long term. So we want to help you search passively by doing that.
So even if I haven't lost my job, I've had this job for 15 years, and I don't want to full force, go out there, spit my resume to everywhere or do anything like that. Am I wasting your time if I'm like, you know what, I'm not sure, I just want to feel out there? Are you open to connect with somebody that's just wanting to feel and see what's out there?
To a degree, yes. I mean, we are. I mean, ultimately, it is kind of a numbers game in that sense. But yes, I mean, we are. We're there to help you. So we'll have a first initial call with you, and we'll get to understand where you're at, what it is you're looking for, how soon you're looking to make that move, and then we'll be able to work with you on that. So we can send you some things that might pique your interest and see if you're interested in it, and then if you are, then we can submit you and see where it goes from there.
So if you just don't know, you probably have things in the fire that you're like, well, you know what, this actually fits you. And
Exactly.
If it's a no-brainer, it's, $15,000 more a year, and you got this better benefits, why wouldn't you do it?
Exactly.
At least that's do an interview.
Yep. Just to see if it's a good fit. Nobody's saying you have to take the job, but at least take the interview. At least be open to submitting, because you never know.
Would you say this is a little even more? I mean, if you're trying to be sensitive, you don't really want your employer now to know you're out there looking for a job. Are you guys more discreet than if I was putting my resume out to everybody and everything, or is that just not a thing? I don't know.
No, absolutely. We're completely discreet. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there are recruiters out there who do that, and if you work with them, they'll just kind of throw your resume out there. But a good recruiter understands and knows discretion, and they will make sure that they're putting that at the forefront before anything else. From my standpoint, as a recruiter and as an owner of a recruiting agency, I make sure that my recruiters do not submit you to a position without your knowledge.
Interesting. Dude, that is cool. And it makes me think, like, why wouldn't all of us have you just going out there and looking what's out there and see what's going on? And I think a lot of people get comfortable in their jobs, and they're kind of being taken advantage of by their employer because they're amazing. It's kind of like the credit card company doesn't, or the cell phone company doesn't give you any rewards for being a good member.
Being there
I've been
15
there.
years.
Yeah, they don't. It's only when you threaten to leave or you do leave, and they want a new person that they want to give you. And that's unfortunate, but it is kind of the way this world rolls somehow for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right. You hit the nail right on the head. I mean, that's exactly what it is. You don't know what you don't know until you actually look. And when you look, that's where we're there to help you. But I will say this, recruitment does get a bad rap because there are a lot of people that are shady in the industry.
Oh.
Find yourself a really good recruiter who understands and who's willing to work with you and for you.
So how do you do that? How do you find a good recruiter, though? How do you know when they're shady and when they're not? I mean, I don't have a clue. What would I?
Yeah, I mean, my best advice on that would just be get to know and understand them. If they're in a hurry to get you to sign stuff and in a hurry and not wanting you to get to know them, is that kind of a red flag? Or in my opinion, yes, that's a red flag. I mean, that you want somebody who's going to take the time to listen to you and understand what your needs are and cater things to you.
Not just another number to
exactly
get through the machine, see if I can get.
Exactly.
That's not much better than being on the pile of resumes.
And in that thought process, trust your gut. If you feel like something's off with somebody, there are more recruiters out there. Find somebody else that works for you. Find that person who says, you know what, I care about you. I'm going to take care of you. I want to make sure that we find you something is the job that you want.
I like it. Wow, this is a whole new. I mean, we've been talking and connecting and kind of doing stuff for quite a while now. But it just hit me how important or how much of a no-brainer it is to use a recruiter.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you?
And that's it. Most people don't know.
Is there a disadvantage? What's the disadvantage to using a recruiter if I'm a potential, what do you call them?
Candidate.
Yeah, I'm just making sure you know what you're talking about.
just a little bit. Having said that, I mean, the only thing that I will say is you got to really understand your recruiters because, like I said, there are a lot of shady ones out there who are just looking for that quick placement. Find one that understands you. Find one that understands where you want to go with your career, and they will be with you forever.
There you go. So as far as a real disadvantage,
there really
isn't one. They're just, I mean, as far as why not? And we'll talk about clients later. This will be another podcast because this deserved its own.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think client side, why use a recruiter? Because they got to pay for it.
Exactly.
So that'll be fun to talk about next time. So this was good. This was a good show. Awesome. We will see you next time, wrapping it up with the new IT.